Hi everybody, it's another episode of the 12 Houses, and I'm here with my lovely friend Lisa Iverson.
Hi.
Lisa Iverson is one of my dearest friends, I have to say, and I first hesitated in bringing her here because I feel that I know her well, but she said to me that there's something that she has in store for us that might surprise us, and I am totally up for the surprise element. And of course, bad for me because like we all change every day, every season, and the Lisa that I met last week at her birthday probably is another Lisa now. So I'm here for it, and welcome, my love. And thank you for being here at my show. I love you.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. I am sure that we will always learn new things about each other
Yeah,
every day.
yeah, every day.
So,
Every
I
day.
mean, I'm here for it.
Yes!
Yeah.
Okay, first of all,
Okay.
in your own words, you have to introduce yourself to whoever is watching.
Yeah.
Tell everyone, tell
I
everyone.
am born in Sweden, but I am a person of the universe, I would say, because I am really feeling my home is my body. So I'm fine with anywhere. Now I'm living in Barcelona, I'm like really fine with that, and it's a great city. I am a fashion designer and I feel really passionate about creating clothes and ideas and to dress people and make them beautiful. And I love dancing. This is how we met actually.
Yeah.
A few years ago when all the nightclubs closed because of Corona. We created this community where we met and we danced on the street.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I survived those 2 years basically.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
that-
actually, that was something that we haven't, not much, not many people know about us.
yeah,
Is that we met in the most beautiful way that anyone can meet. Like we had a friend in common. Her name is Tammy, and one day she said to me, "Let's go dance on the street." She loves to dance, and I was like, "Of course." And then Lisa came. She was also a friend of her, and we just put the boombox on the street and start dancing until we got bored. And we repeated this for months and months. And during the pandemic, where you could go out, it wasn't forbidden to go out, but there were a lot of restrictions.
yeah,
And for me personally was one of the happiest moments of my life because it just meant that you don't need like a pre-created space like a club or anything or your house to be able to express yourself in the dancing. The outside is yours too. It doesn't belong to anyone, it belongs to all of us.
yeah.
So you can
Okay, I will just add a thing because my parents they're
Mhm.
here for a visit,
Mhm.
and they just told me yesterday
Mhm.
that there's a new law in Sweden that now it's allowed to dance on the street.
So it
And it wasn't allowed.
it wasn't allowed?
No.
Oh my god.
And I mean, in
And
my
some people
brain,
think-
I would never even question this.
That. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Well,
would, because I mean, of course, if it's obviously the middle of the road, or you
Yeah.
know, like some other obvious, but
yeah. But I don't
Otherwise,
think any policeman in his right mind would be like amonesting someone who's dancing on the street
Yeah,
freely
this
and
is
like
what I
minding
really
his own
hope.
business. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's okay. I mean, that was like, and still is one of our most prized memories. And
Yes.
it was what it was. And now that life has regained the pace and we all have lots of things to do because we have been reinserted now in society, we have a hard time to find those spaces because we're kind of like all working and trying to keep with the things that we have to do. But in the end, like I I don't miss it in the sense that we have we're doing other things. Now we are doing this space, for example, and for
Mm.
me, this is something that I wanted to do, and I'm doing it. Back then, that was something that I wanted to do, and I
Mm.
did it, and it led me to meeting beautiful souls and enjoying the basic joys of life and how meditative is in dancing. So when you introduce yourself,
Mm.
you said something that I want to start this interview with.
Okay.
You said you like to make people feel beautiful with your clothes,
Yes.
and you, uh, Lisa is. I'm gonna give the big three energies here. So Lisa is Sun in Cancer, Rising Libra, and Moon in Capricorn. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Rising Libra
Yeah.
because the Rising Libra. Let's remember a little bit of the rising sign. It's how, in a nutshell, you've been perceived by others. Other
Yeah.
perceives you as your rising sign, and it's something that you carry along ever since you're a child. So Libra is ruled by Venus. And Venus is the sign of beauty,
Mm.
and beauty it's very linked to aesthetic, you know.
Yeah.
So aesthetic, balance, diplomacy,
Mm.
you know, being sure that everyone gets heard, you know,
Mm.
before making a decision. So um, I want you to tell me, what does balance, the word balance, the concept of balance has meant to you through your life? How do you embody it?
I guess it's equality
Mm-hmm.
in one way,
Mhm.
and also, for example, with my work, I would say that that's how I can put all energy into my work, and the next I put all energy into doing something else, and I'm
Mhm.
really good at like keeping that balance. You know that when I'm at my work, I work. When I'm doing something else, I'm really focused on always in that moment,
Mhm.
and that's, I mean, I would say that's the balance of life a little bit,
Mhm.
because I can really balance those two parts of my life, and also of course it's a beauty aesthetic, because it's like the balance of I don't know how to put
Not overdo things, for example.
exactly, the finding the right balance is like, yes, the black and the white,
Okay.
that's like a balance, because they somehow creates a contrast, and it's like a
Mhm.
balancing out each other.
Okay, it's not like more is more or less is more. It's just like a balance between those kind of.
I mean, I would say
Concept.
like, if, for example, if you have a big flower here,
Mhm.
like the bottom parts have to be kind of like simple, you know,
Mhm.
because that
Mhm.
gives the balance. If you have a big flower on the shoulder,
Mhm.
and then you have like a crazy skirt with flowers,
Mhm.
that would be crazy.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that is always like what the designer also is finding, like
Okay.
the way of showing this balance.
And for example, did you had like when you were younger the concept of balance in your head? Did you felt something about it, like attract to it? Maybe sometimes because like, I mean, for me, balance is everything. Because like whenever you have
Yeah.
a concept in your head, you have to go through something to say, okay, am I overdoing this? Am I over exaggerating? Or am I just doing too little? Where is the point in the middle? Did you strive for it when you were a
No,
kid?
I did
you
not.
strive for it now?
No, I feel that I was,
Uh-huh.
when I grew up, I did everything way too much, way too extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed to do that to reach to where, like,
Okay.
where I am now. I have
So
to
in
go
order,
too far
yeah.
in each direction.
Yeah. In
Kind
order
of.
to know when it's right and when it's wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's because actually the balance that represents Libra,
Yeah.
it's an actual balance, but it's not any balance. It's the old balance. You know, the ones that have like hang
Yeah,
by
I know.
like a thread.
So you have to put.
So you
different
each
kind of things.
it's very
each.
tiny.
Yeah.
You cannot put so much because the other part is gonna show up. Like you have to put very carefully the
Yeah.
little things that you put in there. So that's the beauty of it. So I think when you're starting in life,
Yeah.
you have to go to the extremes first.
Yeah, you're
to
putting
see,
two big stones all the time,
to
kind of.
see
So.
where the balance is.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Libra, it's also a sign that relies a lot on the perception of people,
Mm-hmm.
on
Okay.
them, you know?
Yes.
So, and that's why it's very diplomatic, and that's why it needs to feel that everyone is heard, you know? So, I wanted to ask you, what do you think or imagine or in your experience feel that are you perceived by people? What would you say? Like what people tells you, you know, that informs your social perception?
I think I am perceived as a easygoing person,
Mm-hmm.
and happy, positive,
Mm-hmm.
quite logical, I would say as well, but also quite quiet in one way because I do listen more than I talk, I would say.
Okay.
But maybe, yeah, I don't know.
But for example, do you feel that it's also a true nature from you? What other people perceives from you, or you think that they're missing out on something?
Of course, I'm missing out on something.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
yeah.
We're gonna go there. We're gonna go
Okay.
there. We're gonna go there because I wanted to.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to see the Libra, because the Libra. I mean, not shame on the Libra because it's my kind of like my second favorite sign, but they could get into people pleasing very easily.
Yes.
Very
I would say.
easily into people pleasing and put their needs on the back in
Yeah.
order to please everyone.
Yes.
You know, have you felt that sometimes?
I do have a percentage of that.
Okay.
Not in an extreme,
Mm-hmm.
but I do always think if I, for example, if I have a party,
Mm-hmm.
that would be the typical
Mm-hmm.
situation. I will think like, do everyone have fun? How can I introduce those to people that is not talking with anyone? I
Okay.
don't know, like
Yeah.
always trying to
Yeah.
look out for others.
To match the energy.
Yeah, a
To
little
match the
bit.
energy. Yeah, I've seen you because like sometimes I have asked you, for example, you look super having fun and you're trying to connect everybody.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I say, Lisa, I mean this party sucks, and you're like, yes, we need to leave. And I was like,
true. I mean,
why aren't you leaving? You know.
This is true. I mean, I always try like, okay, we are here now. Like, let's do the best of the situation. But like, this truly has happened so many times. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but sometimes
this sucks. And I'm like,
exactly.
actually, yes.
Yeah, sometimes I mean, there's no choice in between. You know, you don't
Yeah.
you have to like push yourself out
Yeah.
there. Okay, perfect. Uh-huh. Okay, so we're going to balance again,
Yes.
and tell me something about how do you balance this external energy with your internal energy. When you feel that something internally is not in balance with the external, how do you keep the balance there? What do you sacrifice versus what do you put out there? Do you feel sometimes that is a hard thing to do?
I mean, I think the mind is a muscle kind of that you have to train all the time. So of course there's days I'm like waking up and I'm like, oh my god, I should do this, and I'm like, is it really me who telling me this, or is
Or
this
the
like
outside
an
world,
expectation
an expectation
from the world? And
Yeah.
this, I mean, of course this happens a lot, and then I have to like take a walk or like really analyze the situation. I'm like, actually no, I don't want that.
Exactly. Well, what are your resources for you to like get this space for you to make a good decision.
I'm trying
usually.
to actually look into kind of some future and seeing like my version of the future, and I'm seeing like, okay, that step in that direction that I think I should take is not taking me there.
Okay. Yeah.
Or like, and also maybe it doesn't have to be a good future. You can just be like, I think I don't want to do it.
Okay.
I don't know. It
So it's like
so
very,
easy.
very want, not want, not
Kind
want,
of,
not want.
yeah.
Perfect. Very intuitive in a sense.
Yes.
Well, that is your Cancer nature. Your intuitiveness.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is Cancer. I feel it.
And for example, I'm gonna go to, because like the rising is the first house. It's who you are in the world, kind of like in a personal kind of way. So we're gonna go through to the second house, because you have something in the second house, and and it's actually something that is very generational, because you have Pluto in the second house.
Okay.
And Pluto is a planet that takes a generation of people to go through the zodiac, through the whole. So everybody in your age has Pluto.
Yes.
In Scorpio.
Okay.
I mean, some people have it in, for example, in a different house, like third, fourth, five, whatever. You have Pluto in Scorpio generation-wise, but you have Pluto in your second house. And your second house is the house of material resources. What you can touch,
yes.
what you can see, even money, even, nature, and all the things that you can do things with. So, Scorpio, it's a sign that deals with investigation and deals with transformation, deep transformation. So, for example, I want to tie this concept of Pluto in Scorpio in your second house to your career and to your art, because how important is the investigation of the materials in your creative process of the clothes.
The materials.
How
I
much-
mean, I would
how
say the investigation is the most important, and then it could be both about the material, and then it could be about a new technique, or about some pleats and how you place them on the body. But like the investigation part is, for me, is the most important, because if you only have an idea and then you translate to the final stage and you already know how it will look, you will not get surprised. But if you in the process are seeing something, that is when you get surprised, and that is where you can learn and get new ideas and continue to develop.
Yeah.
So this, I think, is it could be really fun there.
Yeah. And how do you think this process of investigation is reflected on the end product?
With creativity. I mean, you would see that there have been a creative process. You will see in the final result of a garment that it have been a creative process behind.
Okay, so you'll see, basically, you will feel that this was made out of like hard work, basically.
Hard work and curiosity.
And curiosity and
like passion.
and
It's true.
yeah.
You can see this actually.
Yeah. Because I say this because some designers might say, oh well, this is something that has always looked good, so I just have to like copy it and change the pattern.
Yes.
For example, what I've seen in you is that you make the patterns,
Yes.
you do the design, you create the concept, you get inspired by some things, and you are creating the whole process, and behind the whole process of something that it's gonna be put out. And I see the investigation, because sometimes you, for example, travel just to get inspired for your new collection,
Yes.
and that is something that is very Scorpio, like this transformation, something you create from the ashes.
Yeah, it's transform.
Yeah.
a part of nature to a garment, or yeah, a first idea to a final result.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Pluto in the second house in Scorpio also. Well, this is a fun question, so we can like so we can like laugh a little. How are you in this balance of, for example, in your personal life, between overspending versus saving?
Oh my god, I don't know. I have some abundant moments when I feel like, well, I can just do whatever.
Like this.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some cash.
I get some cash, and I can invite people,
Yeah.
and then I have some really like the opposite moments when I'm like, oh shit, I have to eat rice.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the like average spending is even a bit under average, because I really somehow manage to have a like fine lifestyle, but like without any extra.
Yeah. Yeah. I have seen you in the sense of like you always try to save somehow.
I do.
You're very careful with money, but sometimes you go like, oh no, I need this no matter what it costs. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It's okay,
I
whatever.
know, and it's sometimes like the most stupid stuff,
Yeah.
So I know it. But no, but I also don't think that money makes me happy, So
That's good.
I don't know, happy with what I have, and I'm trying to care of it.
Yeah,
So
you balance it.
exactly,
You
I
balance
balance
it.
and,
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So we're getting out of house 2. We're getting out of house 2,
Yeah.
and we're going to house 5.
Okay.
We're going to house 5 because actually I thought, because I haven't read your chart before today,
Yeah.
and I thought that you were gonna have like a full packed planet house 5, and you don't.
No.
No,
Which
and
one is
then
that?
house 5 deals with creativity, deals with love as an energy of love,
Yeah.
deals with children, and it's ruled by the sun. It's the house of Leo, but you have there Saturn, and you have the sign of Aquarius. So, first of all, Aquarius is the opposite of Leo, so it's not very comfortable in the 5th house. And Saturn is comfortable in the 5th house, somehow it's comfortable there, because Saturn is the planet of limits. It's the planet that represents that you get the lessons in life the hard way, like working.
Yeah.
There's no shortcut to anything. So you are a little goat going to a mountain. So I'm gonna focus this house on the creative aspect of your life,
Yeah.
because the creative aspect of your life is ruled by this house, and you express it as an Aquarius because you have Aquarius here. And Aquarius is the sign that deals with innovation, deals with technology.
Yeah.
It deals with the new stuff, whatever is like coming, that it's groundbreaking, And for example, it's also the house of community and inclusivity. So in your designs, in your creativeness, I've always seen in you that you love to break rules, establish rules, Like, for example, if you dance, you like to do contemporary dance, not kind of like structured dance. If you, for example, do clothes, you like to do something that we haven't seen before, or it's not being used one way or another. So I really want you to explain your creative process and your goal into your creativity space, especially with the clothes, because your clothes. Well, you cannot tell us like what do you strive to use with your to do with your clothes, because like also Aquarius is the sign of being mindful about the the collective. So if, for example,
Yeah.
if we're living in an age of being trying to transform things and reuse things, you're very in tune with that. So I want you to explain. This is basically the time for you to explain you the philosophy between your creative process, and also what do you want people to understand with that philosophy.
I mean, I think I really recognize myself in what you told me, because it's true that I really feel connected with people,
Mm-hmm.
and that is my main inspiration.
Mhm.
I look at people and I think how can I make their life better? And actually, I mean, it sounds silly coming from a fashion designer,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, okay, but actually this guy, I see that he have been on his bike and now he's going to his work and he's a little bit sweaty, like how can, oh, maybe there could be a pant that you can, for example, like make into office clothes. I don't know exactly how, but I always try to look for this kind of solution.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so that is, I think, how I connect with the people, and also that how I see my community is the people that I see every day. I mean, not like any certain person, but like I connect. I'm going to the street and I connect,
Okay.
and that is already my crowd and my inspiration. And so my idea behind my brand is to bring an idea of an active lifestyle with clothes that somehow can be transformed or used in several occasions, and like kind of a way of making people's lives easier, or like also because I mean there's two ways of seeing it. It's also like I mean, we're living in cities, the apartments are smaller. Every time you go for a weekend trip, you have like this small bag, and like how can you also bring fewer garments? How can you have a smaller wardrobe? You have to really have to be selective, and if, for example, a garment can be used several times in different ways, that is already like a winning argument.
Yeah, and I feel it, and I so agree with it, because I mean it's something we don't have, like that you just said, like we don't have like a lot of space to store things. I mean, it's great if you have one garment that you can be using it twice or three times in a different way. Having Saturn here is something that I feel that it will take its time for people to understand it, to get into it, because like I see now that people like it, but they tend to go to the easy way. And like because like you in the end, if you are making this type of clothes, you as a customer have to be willing to pay a little extra, because you're getting 4 looks in one garment, and that takes effort and that takes time. Because I mean, and I want you to tell me this, I want you to tell me like the investigation that we were talking about.
Yes.
It goes into how do I make a pant or a dress wearable in so many ways.
Yeah. No, it's true. Of course, it's hours and hours of trying and error and investigations, and it's true. I mean, it's true what you say, that hard work. I would say I have never taken any kind of extra fast tracks anywhere. I mean, I started to sew when I was about like 4. So I mean, if you look at like, I should be like the most famous fashion designer because I've been like so many. No, I mean because I have also, I mean, going the slow, sustainable, organic way forward.
And it's not the way that it's common these days.
Yeah, and I mean also like some people is like, but give some clothes to famous people, and I don't know, I don't believe it, because I think also, I mean, if okay, let's say a famous person came to me personally and said, I love your stuff, can we do a collaboration? I would love it. But just to send it randomly to person that I don't have any personal contact with,
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
It doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't feel right. No,
Okay.
it don't really even feel it's really honest. Because it's like that person didn't buy it, you know, like
Yeah.
it would be kind of like lying.
You have to be connected with the intention.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Staying in the topic of house 5.
Yes.
House 5 is also the house of fun.
Fun.
Yeah, fun.
Nice.
So, is work fun for you?
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna also tell you a fact that people with Saturn in this house have. Maybe you know, or maybe you feel.
Mhm.
But for example, since it's the house of children,
Yeah.
children with Saturn in this house tend, if they want to have children, tend to get them later in life.
I am not planning to have children. No, actually, so
It's not on your mind at the moment. It's
no,
like,
I have too much fun.
Yeah, that's much fun to it.
Exactly.
Mhm. Okay, perfect. And now we are going, because the thing is, with you, you have 2 houses with all the rest of the planet.
Yeah.
Like,
Whoops.
it's divided,
Yeah.
and it's incredible because it's 2 opposite houses.
Okay.
And all the opposite houses, you have in. But I mean, we've talked about house 1, we've talked about house 2, we've talked about house 5, and we're gonna talk about house 4 and 10, and all of the rest of the houses you have empty. So you have like
Okay.
you have like free will there, whatever it is that you want to do,
Yeah,
whatever.
okay,
It's not
yeah.
important to you, but like this is the
Okay.
4 house 4 and house 10. It brings big energy into your life.
Okay, let's
So
see.
I'm
what
gonna
this is.
start with house 4.
Yeah.
House 4, and this is super interesting. House 4 is naturally the house of Cancer. Okay. But it's also, and since it's the house of Cancer, it's the house of ancestral family. It's ruled by the moon. That house is the house of your home life. You know, when you go back to your home. You know, that's what Cancer means. It's like home, loving, nurture energy. Okay? So here you have the opposite sign of Cancer, which is Capricorn. So you have in your house 4 Capricorn, which is the opposite sign of your complementary opposite, basically. And you have your moon here, and you have Neptune here, and you have Uranus here. So, and also I saw in your chart that you were born under a full moon. So I'm gonna start with that. Because like
Okay.
being born in a full moon means you will always sense that you are meant to do great things in life. You know? Like something like that lasts, you know? And the moon doesn't like to be in Capricorn because it's the opposite side of Cancer, which it rules. Like the Cancer is ruled by the moon. So if you have Capricorn there, it's like, oh my god, I have my nemesis here, you know? But it's okay, it doesn't like it. But, so let's just put ourselves in real context here. So for example, if the moon is in the 4th house, you're a person that grew up and also needs to live near water. So tell me about your geographic situation ever since you were a child and your relationship with surrounding water.
I mean, I was when I was a kid, I was like, if there's a little pond that was like completely disgusting, I would say like in it. It's true. I mean, they were like fishing me out from so many waters. I was so close to drowning, like so many times.
You didn't mind whenever you saw water.
Yeah, exactly.
You were like
I just
there.
ran for it.
Yeah.
But I think before I lived close to the sea, I didn't really understand what I was missing out, you know?
Okay.
And also, since we have a summer house at the sea, I got maybe a lot of energy from there. But it's true, I remember every time when it was summer and we went there, I was like,
Yeah.
you know, like...
Decompress.
Kind of like, now I'm fine, you know?
Did you moving to Barcelona, for example, which is like basically a beach city,
Yeah.
helped you? Like, did you decide based on being a beach city to move here?
I didn't look in at my chart and think that. No.
No, but like,
No.
but that, because like, I mean, you came from Sweden to Barcelona.
Yes.
So what was when you were in Sweden? What was your image of Barcelona? Why did you came here, for example?
I think I always have some romantic fantasy about Barcelona.
Mhm.
I was 16, I think, when I went here with my high school.
Mhm.
And we had like amazing trip. This was when there were like some volcano in Iceland.
Okay.
So all flights was cancelled, and we had to stay like 1 more week or something. So it was like we were here for at least 10 days.
Okay.
It was amazing, and it's true. At that moment, like I was like, I'm leaving. Like I'm gonna live here at some point in my life.
I'm gonna do something about it.
Yes, but it was everything. I mean, I think the beach was helping a lot. The water and
Being able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weather, but also the vibe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So, for example, I'm gonna go back to the moon because the moon is here in your house 4, okay? And the moon, it's a very big energy in everybody's chart, you know?
Yeah.
The moon represents how do we like to be taken care of, and it's kind of like associated on how our parents took care of us, you know? So for example, since it's in the house 4, which is the house of home, is there something, because like when you're comfortable in something taking care of you, you can express yourself better. So what is something that is very important in your life, in your caring system, that you cannot live without? Like what does nurture you deep down, you know?
I would say just connection. I mean, talking about everything, being really open. And that is how my relationship with anyone. I mean, I will be super honest, like, Danny, don't do that, you're stupid. Or, you know, like, just all the time be honest to each other. I think that's the most. And also, like, that I will not be afraid to tell something either, you know? Like,
you know, what I mean is something that someone has to give to you, you know? In order for you to feel protected and taken care of.
actually,
What did your parents, for example, go back to your parents when you were a child and tell me what is something that your parents did when you were a child that you said, oh, I love you guys that you do this with me, this is helping me.
I mean, as long as I remember, they have treated me as an equal. I mean, it doesn't mean that I could when I was 10, like go.
You were respected.
Yes, but they would still have like a conversation like, of course you cannot like go to a festival. You're 14, you know, like, but they were still having the like, not just like scream it to me, you know. They were still like explaining me why, and I will understand. And of course now when I think back to like, of course I could not go to that festival. Like, I would be killed.
So the protection factor that your parents gave you to your like craziness.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a shelter to you.
But like a really logical.
It has to be logical.
Logical, equal somehow relationship, and I mean, and that is also what if someone would like treat me as a kid or something now, I would be super like upset.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know?
Perfect.
That would be probably the most
So
annoying.
you have also in this fourth house we said Neptune. Neptune is the most creative planet. Neptune is also escapism. And it says to me, Neptune in this house, that you were allowed to have a very creative childhood. So,
Yeah.
did you felt that you could express during your childhood your creativity without limits?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
What did you do when you were a kid? Like,
I was,
tell me everything.
I mean, my favorite game, I mean, I would probably have so much fun doing it also today, is like playing Survivor. You know, we had a forest next to my house, and we met like with my friends there in that forest. And we were there the whole time trying to survive, which was like, I mean, we were building like some little tiny houses. We were like looking for food, and we were like even killing some snake. You know, like. I mean, we did that in my whole childhood, and I mean, it's not creative in that way, but it's super creative in one way because we were like, I remember we were also like, imagine there were some bad guys we had to run from sometimes, or.
Well, you told us also that you started sewing at what age?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I always sue, but the first 10 years maybe was kind of bad.
No, but
I mean,
but
yeah, but of
it
course I
doesn't
was
matter.
sewing things, but
Sewing.
I was doing like a pillow or like even I remember, but sometimes I had some super bad suits clothes to school. But I mean, it almost didn't look like anything. You know, it looked like two pieces of fabric put together, and I went to school like that.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So you thought that was like the way you created to express yourself through what you were wearing. That is very Libra and also very Cancer. Okay. So do you feel, for example, because we're going to into Neptune realm.
Yeah.
Do you feel do you feel? What is your way to escape reality when you feel, you know, I don't need more of whatever it is outside that's like bothering me? What do you use as an escape?
I mean, I would probably actually go to my studio.
Okay.
Even if that is my reality, it's like the best part of my reality maybe. Well, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff, but in there I will just be in my little bubble of ideas.
Okay.
And
it keeps you safe.
Yes.
It keeps you safe, and also protects you from the outside world.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, let's not forget about Uranus, because you also have Uranus in the house 4. So, Uranus is a groundbreaking planet, you know. So in the house 4th, I could see that you have this urge to break some rules in your family. Okay? And maybe leaving Sweden was an expression of, okay, I need to get out of here to be myself. How do you live this process of like really taking the decision to leave Sweden?
I don't think I did. It was obvious. I mean,
so you wouldn't think about it.
That's always the times I have been most happy in my childhood. I mean, it's not like I have a bad childhood and stuff, but it's like when we left Sweden. I remember like we went to Paris to visit my aunt. That was like amazing. I went to some English school in Brighton or somewhere like that with my friends. And I remember it was like the first time where I really felt like, I mean, I was alone with without my parents, and I was there, and I was like seeing new sides of myself that I was have not seen in Sweden. And I think, I mean, it's not like I was sitting down like thinking about it. It's just it was always obvious that I was not going to live in Sweden.
How was received the moving of you to Barcelona in your family?
So I have a really good way of telling bad news. You tell a worse news. Okay, so I told my parents I was going to Caribe, like the Caribbean, to work in a hotel. And they were like freaking out because of course that's like so far. And then it's like, or I can go to the school that is in Barcelona.
Okay.
So then they were like, go for it, Lisa. That's a great idea. You should do it.
So, but the Caribbean hotel work was for real. You would do it.
I mean, I did apply for it. Like, it's,
okay, but you knew your parents were gonna say yes to Barcelona.
Yes.
That's very Libra also.
Yeah.
You're trying to like how can you say, I hate this word, but like you were trying to
shock them or
no, you were trying to it's like trick them into saying yes.
Yeah.
It's trick them into saying yes to you. I love it. I need to learn from this.
Yeah.
I need to learn from this. It's either this or that. What do you prefer?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, I'm gonna learn from this for sure. Okay, so because we're going back to the moon, and this is the last question at the house 4. What made you feel taken care of when a child that still does to this day?
But I think it's almost what I told you. I think it is that I have, for example, my family, and I really a good connection with them. That I feel this relationship where I can tell them everything, and they can tell me everything.
Yeah.
Like really honest and.
No, that's why we're still in house 4. To your family supporting every decision you make is basically what keeps you taken care of. So that will bring me, we're going to the 10th house, which is the opposite house. And how you need to balance this energy. Because in the house 10, the house 10 is the house of social life.
Okay.
It's the house of what you put into the world. That you create, you put into the world. It's also social status, it's also career, and it's something that you can only put out into the world. So, here you have your sun, which is the biggest energy. Sun is here. And in Cancer, the opposite sign of Capricorn. They say, for example, for a Cancer, career, friends, and family, it's how the balance between these 3 things is how you live well. It's very relational. It's very relational. So, and also the Cancer archetype is based on building foundations of your life through nurturing love. It's love. Cancer puts the word love in the map. So let's just start with, what does love as an energy means to you?
I mean, it's just a warm feeling that I feel towards many things and many people, and also towards myself, and towards what I'm doing, and it's also like an energy that's like a little tickling almost, that I can create and use for doing things.
How do you feel the absence of love? How would you recognize it?
I will feel like empty.
Emptiness.
Yeah.
Emptiness. Well, that's in turn. So, and also, for example, in the house 10, I've learned something, that the ambitions of the mother can be reflected in this house.
Of the mother?
Yeah. The ambitions of the mothers can be reflected in the house of social status, career. Have you seen it? Because your mother is very supportive of you.
Oh, yes.
It's super supportive of you.
I mean, she is really supportive. I mean, she's always there for me.
Mm.
But she is not so passionate about what she's doing.
Mm-hmm. She's not
So-
passionate about what she's doing.
She's not so passionate
Yeah.
about what she's doing. I mean, she's passionate about going on holidays,
Yeah.
you know, like
I get
other
it.
things.
I get it.
But she never cared about
Okay.
her job life.
Okay. So,
So-
that's why I like sensed it, because I know. So you have here a whole lot of planets also. You have Mercury here. We already said you have the Sun here. You have Chiron here, and also the South and the North Node are in between the 10th and the 4th house. We're still on this x-axis of
Mm.
home versus career life.
Yeah.
You know, so we're in the career life. So how do you feel when you get recognition for the work you do?
Amazing. I mean, it's
Is
not.
it the biggest feeling for you?
I will not even say it's the words someone tells me, because
Mhm.
normally, like when you get some recognition in that way, it's because they have been in a fashion show or something,
Mhm.
and maybe it's almost like you should tell that person, you know. But
Mhm.
what I love is, for example, to see a random person on the street wearing something, and you see that person look amazing.
Okay.
You know that. I mean, that for me is like a 10. Like that's.
That's why
What
you do what
makes-
you do. That's why you do what you do.
Yes,
basically.
exactly. Or someone sent me a picture like I had it today, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like these kind of yeah, that is it. Made me so happy.
I think, but that feeling
Yeah.
that you get when you see someone on the street wearing your clothes, would you consider, among any other feeling that you have in your life, one of the top 3?
Uh, hmm.
Because
I
it
don't
says
know, I mean-
here, it is. It says here that it's very principled in your life, that
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, it is amazing.
some
Yeah.
huge validation.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, I see it. It's like, because, I mean, you walk, talk, live fashion, but you also walk, talk, live the process of what you do. You're
Yeah.
always thinking and creating. How can you put this energy out there? So, whatever else you do, I have seen you take inspiration from it to
Mhm.
bring it there. For
Yeah.
example, if you say, "Oh, I'm doing a collection," well, you love to go to festivals,
Yeah.
but in your collection you said, "Oh, this is festival season clothing," you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everything is connected.
so you also have Mercury here, and the Mercury is the planet that represents language and represents intelligence. So having it here means that you should have a great communication skills in your career and how to sell your brand. And that brings me to the subject that, for example, you live in Spain,
Mm.
and Spanish is not your first language.
No.
So, has it become a little bit hard sometimes when you are at a store to how to explain to people your vision?
I mean, I think talking about things that I feel comfortable talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that I can do. But
Mhm.
it's true that I can maybe sometimes feel that I don't sound as professional that I would do in English or in Swedish. But I think the message always goes through.
Goes through.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, there was like very, because Mercury is it's a planet that is very close to Earth, so we rely on it. It's our intelligence. So, for example, it says that you have it here in this house of public life and work, that you can rely a lot on your talking skills and your storytelling and your for example, your discourse, and what you tell people. So I encourage you to be more talkative about it, more like, if you're in front of someone trying to sell your collection, try to make the words come out, and also, since your Swedish language is
Yeah.
your first language, I think you can market yourself there very well because you have the
Yes.
skills
Yeah, I know.
by
No, I mean,
default.
for sure I should.
Yeah. So, also between this fourth house and this 10th house, we have your south node, and your north node. Okay, so um, south node, north node deal with the path of life, and also that's the north node, and the south node is what you need to let go to bring this future along, how you balance it. So this is like more intimate, you know, because since your south node is in your uh, fourth house, not your 10th house, and your north node is in your fourth house, I want to ask you, how do you see the balance between the safety that you create for others and the one you create for yourself? Because you, as a Cancer, love to feel that you create safety around the people you love, you know. So how do you see this balance of creating safety for yourself versus creating safety for others?
I mean, I think everything is based on this kind of love I feel towards people, and I will like I use it towards myself and towards everyone, and that's like how some kind of like safe space is created. But I think the difference is that how I treat myself is sometimes that I say no to stuff. Like, I don't know, I can be like, no, I don't feel it, and yeah, I think that's the difference.
That is something super important, because the balance between the north node and the south node in this case is that a learning for you to not give too much and drain yourself is to know where your limits are. Do you feel in touch where you put your boundaries?
I'm still learning, but yes, every time more.
You
I would say.
exercise it. You
Yeah.
exercise it.
And but also sometimes you have to recognize that it's sometimes good to even go a little bit further than the limits, because you don't know. I mean, better to be maybe just a little bit outside the limits sometimes. Even if sometimes you might find it's too far, than to maybe be too safe.
Then also we're gonna go to Chiron, which is also in this 10th house.
Yeah.
And Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's how you heal. How you heal.
So with social people. I mean social life, I guess.
I mean, since you have it in Cancer, that is the Cancer journey is to find home within yourself. Because at the beginning, the Cancer journey, when a person is little, is think that family is everything that supports you. And you told me already that without them, you would feel not taken care of. But your learning process, your journey, is to learn that the Cancer journey is to know that home is it's in yourself. It's in yourself.
Yes.
So how do you feel that you're in this process of, if you're in a deserted island, I mean, this is an extreme case, but I think we can put ourselves there.
Yeah,
if you're in a deserted island without your communication to your family, without communication to your friends, how will you not collapse? Of course, you will remember the games you play with your friends and trying to survive.
I know.
But like now, how do you feel about the concept of you are your own home?
No, I mean, I feel really comfortable with being with myself, and I do think that I'm my own home, and everything outside of me is extra. Like,
it's
I
out of your
don't
control.
need it. No, but it's also like I'm really thankful to have a boyfriend and my family and a house and a work. But like I would say everything outside of me is like extra.
Okay.
So I would be
It's
like,
an extra gift.
it's gifts, it's gifts.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, I will freak out. Of course, if I'm in a desert island, and probably I will get eaten by some kind of animal and all these kind of like things. But I don't think I will die of being like crazy. I think I will die of another reason. Like,
Okay, good. Now we're gonna change to the house 11
yes.
because you also have planets here, and I wanted to leave it for the last part of the interview because you have blessings here in the house 11. You have lots of blessings. It's like your blessings house.
Mm.
I will see it in your chart. House 11 is naturally the house of Aquarius. Okay, and the house of Aquarius represents community, represents friends, represents hopes, represents dreams, you know, the collective. You know, the collective and how to be and see each other as equal, something that you said at the beginning, you know, the equalness. You have here Jupiter as a planet, Mars, and Venus. And the sign that you occupy here is Leo. So lots of Leo energy. And I think where through your friends, since it's the house of friends, you might get confused as a Leo, you know, but Jupiter and Venus are planets of good luck, you know. Jupiter expands everything. Venus is something that gives love to everything that you do in this area. And Mars is something, let's just say, that you will go to war through or you will fight for, you know. And I think, for example, in your job and your creations, you always think about the collective and how to make the collective better through fashion. So we generate, for example, less waste, you know.
Oh yeah. Yes, I mean, yeah, and also I'm one of the founders of Mode, which is a community for like emerging designers, and it's true that I always looking out for others and try to see how to connect to each other.
And you guys created this.
Yes.
Because of the need that you have to connect
I mean,
with
I
a
think
community.
several people have this need, but yes, I really feel it, and I connected with this energy.
Yeah. I mean, and it's totally related to this house because and you will fight for it. And actually, I think this community that you created, having Venus and having Jupiter here, will definitely expand. And I've seen it expand since it started.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
But I also think everything is really organic, especially in fashion, because it's kind of unstable field. But I do believe in the process, you know, like even if you don't see like, oh my god, result, like, oh, we didn't earn money, you know, like obviously that's the least important. I mean, of course, in the end that it has to be generate some kind of money because you put so much time into it. But in the beginning, it is more about expanding. I mean, feel the energy from other people. I mean, I feel that we have to get so much positive response. And I think that is for me enough to continue.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is.
Yeah. No, definitely. And for example, like, let's talk about friendship. What does friendship mean to you?
It's like family. I don't know. It's also like a feeling of trust and just being myself with someone.
Would you fight for your friend?
Yes.
Okay. If you go to design a collection,
yeah,
what is your starting point in your inspiration?
It's really hard to say because I feel it's too organic to like put it in a map.
Okay. It just flows.
It really flows, and I could be, for example, having a dream about the garment, or I could see a fabric that will kind of turn into something, or it could be a drawing, an art. It could be a piece of nature that I see some shadows of some leaves on the floor, and that could be a print. Or, I mean, I think it's more connecting with everything.
Yeah.
And I think for me it helps. For example, now I'm I have my own schedule. Like I can be free with my time, where I am, and every day is different. And that's how I feel that I am available for this inspiration always.
Okay.
Because if I was going to an office 8 to 5, I think that will taking away some of my inspiration. Because now I don't know, I connect more to each part of the day and going with the flow, and if the flow takes me there and that is where's the inspiration, I go there.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna have to ask you the questions that I always ask in this interview,
Yeah, of course.
and one of them is, what is the lesson that has taken you the longest to learn?
I would say
Think about it.
I know. I think I know the lesson to say no.
Put your limits.
Yeah.
Okay, limits. So, this is another question that I learned from Natia,
Yeah.
which I have here interviewing, and if you would have to associate a season with your childhood, which season it will be?
Summer.
Summer?
Yes, because when we went to the summer house and I felt connected with the nature and everything.
And the last one is, if you had the money and you could be like an activist of something, what would be your activism?
I would actually go for people, like, I don't know, in actually which exact situation. I think everyone should be fine. I don't believe that anyone should be super mega rich. Actually, I think you should just take the money from like
Do you
the
mean communism?
I mean, I don't mean some kind of extreme.
Do you mean
but I'm like,
communism?
I just think that there's so many like people that is dying of starvation, or like they have some crazy illness they cannot afford to get, fixed. And also like I also feel, because I'm connected with it now, as we talked about now in the break, that I don't care about the nature so much. I mean, I'm doing everything sustainable and I'm doing my part of it. But if I get a shitload of money, I would say the people that live here today and not the generation after me.
Okay.
Like, I mean, do you see what I mean with this?
Yeah,
like,
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Like, I will take care of the people that
Now.
exactly the people that are here, that is suffering today.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, it was lovely to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so
I
much.
feel so blessed.
It's having been a blast.
You know that you are a person that I really admire and has taught me a lot and has showed me a lot. I mean, thanks to you, I was able to go to Sweden and see all this beautiful landscape. And I love your parents, and I love the way you conduct yourself. I think you're super classy. I think you're super loving. I think you are, I mean, if I had to choose like our Mother Teresa of the common days, I will choose you.
Oh,
so thank you for
you.
having me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And I really hope we can stay friends forever.
We will.
Thank you, love.
Mwah.
Bless you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.